Buongiorno, buonasera, benvenuti amici, welcome my friends. My name is Vincenzo and welcome to my channel, and the channel is Fountain Pen Therapy. I feel like I haven't done one of these pen reviews in a while. Got sidetracked with some interesting stuff, but pen reviews of just a single pen, it's been a little while, but I was looking forward to reviewing this pen. For those of you who follow my channel, you know that lately I've been kind of bored with the standard Yowo Bock nibs and any pens that offer that. And unless they can give me some kind of a twist, my focus is more on the nibs than it is on the body. And to each his own. Some people collect the pens because of the body of the pen and the design and the material. And others pay a little more attention or focus primarily on the nib. These days, that's where my fountain pen therapy lies. It's in the writing experience, and anybody that can offer an in-house nib that is worthy of mention gets my attention. And one of those companies is Aurora. It's an Italian company. Their pens also are beautifully designed. And if I can get my hands on Auroras, these days they represent to me anyway a focus point. So I was watching a video from my friend, a French friend of Fontaine de Plume. He had reviewed one of the Aurora pens, and it got me thinking. The itch was on, the hunt was on, and yes, I came up with this beautiful Aurora Talentum. Beautiful pen that I'd like to share with you. So without any further ado, Fountain Pen Therapy presents the Aurora Talentum. Okay, so we're back, and we're here with the box. This is in fact a standard box for Aurora these days. Beautiful, beautiful box, very hard cardboard. It reveals a flap, and you remove this huge interior box. By the way, the pen was purchased on Applebaum, and here's the pen. So very nice box. You can remove the bedding there. There are some cartridges, information booklet with warranty explanations, etc., etc. And here's the pen. Now, my first reaction to the pen was twofold. One, I immediately liked the size. I was somewhat skeptical in that I was hoping it was as big as I thought it would be, and I liked the girth of this pen. Now, my second reaction was one of disappointment, and let me explain. I'm going to just shift to the Applebaum site Let me just click away. This is the site that I visited on Applebaum, and not just Applebaum. Several other sites have a very similar photograph of the pen. It may very well be coming from Aurora itself. And one thing that attracted me to this pen was the way the Aurora branding was on that nib. It appeared to be, darker, and when taken as a whole, I like that gold-black combination of the entire pen. And the pen did appear to be a little more matte finished, as opposed to just a big shiny black pen. So I was somewhat disappointed when I did not see that black branding of the name Aurora. Aurora is there. Okay, don't get me wrong. Right, it's right there, and it's Aurora, Italy, and it's well done. And the trimming is gold, but it just appeared on the picture to be so a little bit flatter, not as shiny, and I don't see the black. That's when I thought that maybe I got the wrong pen. Was it a different edition? Was it a modern edition as compared to an older edition? You know what? I can't figure it out, because I've seen the same pen being sold with a photograph that looks like the pen I have, and I see other photos of the same pen from other sellers with the photo that appears on Applebaum. If any one of you have any further information on that, I know I have several Aurora fans out there. Please let me know, because if I got the wrong pen, I'm sure that if I send it back to Joost at Applebaum and tell him what the problem is, I'm sure he will accommodate me. But I don't want to go through the return, nor do I want to bother Applebaum if it is what it is. And it could be just the photograph. Let me explain. Let me cut back to the photograph, to the site. Back at the site, if you see the nib, the way the nib also appears to, the branding and all the design on the nib appears to be much darker, and there's an accent there. And when I look at the nib here, and we'll get to it in more detail in a second, I don't see that. So it could be a question of light, it could be a question of how the photograph was taken. So having said that, and I've gotten over that initial disappointment and said to myself, the pen is still a beautiful pen. It certainly is. So let's go through it. First of all, beautiful black, resin. You would think that with the shine that it looks like one of these cheap, heavy steel based pens, but it is not. It's beautifully lacquered resin, very, very nice to the touch. The manufacturing of the pen, the machining, the finial with a little bit of a design there. This eyedrop clip that we've seen before on the 88, and we'll take out some pens from Aurora in just a second. Very nice. I like the design of the center band. It just tapers down slightly to reveal just a kind of roundish gold plated or gold colored bottom finial. The pen is very, very nice. It's unique in that we've seen shapes like this before, but it's got a certain amount of uniqueness to it, so well appreciated. The barrel and the cap are girthy, which is something that I wanted, and it's something that I got. Now let's see how many turns. That's 1 1/4. So 1 1/4 turns to reveal the nib. And here's that standard 14 karat gold nib from Aurora, in-house nib. These nibs are just beautiful. Now, I've heard lately that some of the specialized nibs may not come out of the box writing as nicely as these. I've yet to see that. I'm going to get there. For now, I've ordered fine. I've ordered a flex, and this is a medium. So, whoop, put ink all over my fingers or my hand. But beautiful. The shape of the pen, as you could see, it's got that typical flare that we've seen in other Aurora pens. The whole manufacturing, the whole feel of the pen. I mean, there are no rough surfaces. Everything is machined perfectly. The pen is a cartridge converter. It's metal on plastic, but by the way, it really tightens nicely to the point where originally I had a hard time unscrewing that cap. So there's no danger of it, unscrewing accidentally. The feel of the pen is really, really nice. It's not a heavy pen, but is very comfortable in your hands. It's got a nice size. Does it post? Let me just remove the box. By the way, do you guys like my backdrop here? I got this in Florence. I thought it was apropos. Here we go. Even with the posting is deep and secure and very, very comfortable. In fact, even more comfortable than unposted. So for the posters, you'll be very happy with this pen. Very nice pen, classy looking, and an Aurora, just another Aurora gem, and at a price that's very reasonable because it's less expensive than the Optima, for example. So you get a bigger pen that's cheaper than the 88 and the Optima, but gives you that same class and that same quality. So there you have the... let me just look inside to see whether or not there's anything that is of interest. There is a liner in there. There's no step, but there is a liner. And you know what? I have never had any drying issues with Aurora pens, and I don't expect to have any with this one. It will go immediately in my weekly rotation for next week and maybe weeks to come, and we'll be able to test it. And should I have any issues with it, stay tuned. I will probably cover it during one of my weekly recaps, just to make sure that you are fully informed. But I suspect that this gem is not going to have any issues whatsoever. So there you have the design and features of the pen. Why don't we look at some comparisons? Okay, what you're looking at essentially, this is my one of the sampling of my Aurora pen collection, if you will. We've got the steel nibs here with the Ypsilon. I forget what they called this one. And this one I think is the Magellano, which is a thin pen, but very nice. And then I've got this 88P, I believe they're referred to. That's the subject pen. You, of course, have my Optima Aurora Sole Mio. And, I forgot one of them. Just bear with me a second. It's a pen that I recently acquired from Atlas, and that's in my daily or my weekly stash that I forgot to. Here we go. That's the Aurora Nero Perla, or Black Pearl. So as I was saying, subject pen, that's the Sole Mio, and that's the 88. So you could see that in terms of this particular sampling, it is the biggest one of the gold nibbed versions. Of course, there are the even more expensive models that I don't have in my collection yet, But we're getting there, folks. We're getting there. So just to give you a sampling, and of course, as you can see, when we're talking about Optum and the 88, you see that kind of drop shaped clip, which is the typical original design for our friends at Aurora. So there you have the first comparison. And gave me and I also a chance to kind of show off the other Aurora pens that I have. Here is the other pen comparison that I would like to draw your attention to. 1 second here. We will put the subject pen and we will take back the 88. Okay. So you have, and this is Pilot. This is the 743. This, I believe, is the 742. This is the 823. This is the Pilot 74. And this is my Conway Stewart. And this, of course, is my 88. So it gives you, maybe we could just a slight close-up and get a better view there. So as you could see, it is a nice size, not quite as big as the Pilot, a bit girthier, but shorter, which is kind of a design feature of the Optima pens. They're not the longest pens capped, but they are such great pens when posted, because all the posting is deep and secure, that the pen takes on, I think, a very comfortable writing stance once capped or once posted. And of course, you've got my chunky Churchill, which is the biggest of the lot. So there are the pens, unposted and uncapped. I did say capped, but it's not capped. The previous was, of course, the pens comparison with all the pens capped. Now, this is uncapped and unposted. And here is the subject pen. And as you could see, uncapped, it is all of a sudden, it is bigger than the Pilot pens, and almost as long as my Conway Stewart. So there you have it. Beautiful gold nibs on all these pens. And we'll look at it posted next. Here are the pens posted. And as you can see, the posting is quite comfortable on all the Pilots. The Churchill is not the greatest poster, if anything, if at all. And as you can see, the subject pen is quite a long pen, but at the same time very comfortable. And so are the Pilots, by the way. Some of them were wondering when saying, well, that drop clip. Well, it's not quite. As you can see, the Aurora's, the ball is a little more like an eyedrop as opposed to a roundish ball, and the clip design is different, but the same idea. And you know what? All of the Pilots and all of the Auroras are beautiful pens when posted. In fact, some people would prefer them that way. So it's a good comparison. So there you have the comparison of pens and sizes. What I propose is I show you some measurements, and then we'll do that writing sample. Okay, so we're back for the writing sample. Tomoe River, original, 56 grams. The ink I'm going to use is my Aurora turquoise. You guys know I'm just absolutely obsessed with turquoise these days, and there it is. Bottle that I purchased in Rome, as a matter of fact, at the Aurora shop earlier or last summer. Okay, so let's see what gives. We're going to try this pen posted and unposted. Let's start with the pen unposted. Wow. You always know that you got a nice pen if the first letter is gives you that wow. So this is the Talentum. I apologize for my handwriting. Usually my hands, I mean, it's now, I'm in my fountain pen therapy studios. It's what, 5 o'clock in the morning. So my hands are still kind of numb, if you will. So the nib is the Aurora 14 karat. And I'm still looking forward to getting a pen or a nib with the 18 karat just to see the difference. And this one is a medium. And it is gold as opposed to a silver color. The ink is the Aurora turquoise. Compared to the fine nib, there is a difference. Let me just get a fine nib for you out. I have a fine nib in this Sole Mio, so we'll compare. The nib is not as springy as I would have thought. Pretty standard. Can I get a little more out of it? I really don't think so. There's not much line variation there. But it is silky smooth without any, in any direction that you take this pen. Smooth, so very smooth. Very wet. And very constant in terms of flow. No hard starts here, folks. 10 on 10. Compared to, I think it's I like the medium, I've got to tell you. Compared to my Sole Mio, this is the Sole Mio. So you can definitely see the difference. So this is the fine. Botched it up. So this is the fine nib. And you can compare that to the medium nib. So some of you might be wondering, well, there you have the comparison. That's the medium nib. So there is definite difference. I like the medium nib. Really like it. For long writing sessions, it's going to be a lot of fun. Reverse writing. Now, some of me criticize me when I say that reverse writing shouldn't happen. So I apologize for that. Some people took that personally. Reverse writing is absolutely smooth. So for you artists out there, even writers, I tell you, you can write with this pen both sides. And the smooth, and the line you get reverse is kind of in between the fine and the medium. It's a little bit thicker than the fine in my view, but very, very smooth. This is probably the smoothest reverse writing on a pen that I've had. 10 on 10 for that. Likes and dislikes. The only dislike that I have of this pen is that it didn't come with that darkened branding of the name here. And you know, and it's maybe not the fault of the pen, but more the fault of the photograph, if you will. But again, if anybody has any information on that, let me know, because if I got the wrong pen, I'll be the first one to complain. So that's the likes. There's just, I'm going to put branding, and you'll understand what I mean. branding on the band. In terms of likes, I like its design and especially its size. I love the nib. The nib is just a performer, 10 on 10, in-house gold nib. I also like the fact that it posts 10 on 10. It is a comfortable and balanced writing experience. And I said I would try it posted, and I didn't. Both posted and unposted. I also like the price because it is, now, in all fairness, the Sole Mio and the 88 are piston fillers, whereas this one is a cartridge. But you know what? I'm beginning to appreciate the cartridges, just because, at the end of the day, you can fill the pen, and if it costs you $100, $150 less because it's not a piston filler, so be it. You get the pen, you get the nib. That's what's important, right, folks? So price, I think, look, is a pen worth $500 Canadian? Objectively speaking, $500 a lot of money for a pen. But is a pen worth $1,000, $2,000, $3,000? But when you compare it to others, I think it's a steal. I really do. If you want to get an Aurora and get the feeling of that in-house nib and don't want to spend the money that a Optima or other 88 or other pens cost you, get this Talentum. It's a really, really nice, I'm going to say compromise, but a really nice, it's not the Ypsilon, which is a steel number 5 size nib, normally, unless it's a limited edition. And it's not your Optima, it's in between, and I think I like the size, maybe even better than the Optima. So that's it. I think I've covered all the bases here. Wow. Just, it kind of woke up my hands. Just really, 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 I've got to say, beautiful pen. There you have it, folks. My Aurora Talentum. Man, am I happy. Man, am I happy. What a beautiful, beautiful writer. I got to say, these nibs, I just ordered a pen with a flex nib. And I'm really looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to it just to see how that flex. And I've got broad that I want to check. I'm not sure I'm going to go to the extra fine. And then they have this nibs called gotcha, so drop nibs. I've got a feeling they're like a little bit of an architect grind, and you got the stubs. So the itch is there, and maybe what I'll do is I'll just get the nibs and swap them with the pen. And Giardino Italia, or Italiano, always has specials on the Aurora nibs, and they shift around. It varies from week to week. So keep looking at that site. I think if you're interested in just getting the nibs at $250 or 250 euros, and not spend 500, 600 on the pen, that's a nice one. So there you have it, folks. Grazie molto. Aurora Talentum, una bellissima penna. One of my best pens so far. Take care, folks.